What are you supposed to eat after a heart attack, or is there a special diet you should follow to prevent heart disease? Today I'm sitting down with Nicole DiBona. She's a registered dietitian and integrative nutritionist, and we're going to talk about women, diet, and heart disease. I'm hoping that after you watch this segment, you'll have answers to all your dietary questions and more. Nicole, you are a registered dietitian and an integrative nutritionist here at UCLA. Can you tell me what you actually do with patients?
Yeah, so working with patients, I look at them in a more holistic view, not just looking at diagnosis and labs and medications. I do those things, but also getting to know more about their lifestyles or what they have available to them in terms of resources such as, kitchen and cooking tools, and meeting them where they're at in order to help them to attain their goals.
What is the most important thing women should know about nutrition and heart disease?
So nutrition has a measurable impact on our heart health. How we nourish our bodies can influence the modifiable risk factors such as weight, heart rate, blood pressure, and blood sugar levels, as well as influence non-modifiable risk factors like genetics. Though we can't change our genes, we can influence whether or not they are being expressed.
What are you supposed to eat after a heart attack?
So best things for someone to eat after a heart attack is going to be primarily plant foods. So that includes fruits, any and all of them, vegetables, starchy and non-starchy, whole grains, legumes like beans and lentils, nuts and seeds, and herbs and spices. And then in low to moderate amounts, we want to have animal products and focusing on lean proteins like fish, poultry, seafood, and low-fat dairy. And then low to none of more highly processed, highly refined foods like many packaged foods, foods made with refined flours and refined sugars.
Is that the Mediterranean diet?
It's very similar to the Mediterranean diet, yes. The Mediterranean diet consists of, again, primarily plant foods, leaning on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, seafood, and minimal amounts of poultry, dairy, eggs, and red meat. Plant foods is where we get a lot of antioxidants, which are anti-inflammatory and can be cardioprotective. One thing I do challenge patients to do is to stop using the word good or bad when thinking about food, as well as healthy and unhealthy, because food does not have morality. A cookie is neither good nor bad, just like a carrot isn't necessarily good or bad. And so just looking at food as a way to nourish themselves versus categorize it in certain ways.
Is it okay for women to drink caffeine after a heart attack?
Caffeine can be tricky because it is a stimulant, so it can increase your heart rate, and we don't always want to have an increased heart rate.
For all the ladies out there that love chocolate and wine, what are your thoughts on indulging in these things?
Definitely dark chocolate that is 72% or higher does contain more polyphenols and antioxidants, which would be the beneficial part. The one thing to watch out for, though, is too much added sugar. So red wine, that's a tricky one. The main thing that you would drink red wine for health benefits would be resveratrol, which you can also get from eating red grapes.
Okay, what about alcohol in general?
Alcohol in general, the best policy is to not drink any alcohol because a lot of factors with the heart, like cholesterol metabolism, happen in the liver. And if the liver is busy processing alcohol, it's not able to process fats and cholesterol.
So I'm just thinking about women sitting at a dinner party talking about what is it that we can do for our hearts. 80% of heart disease is preventable. From a nutrition standpoint, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say to them to, again, lean into those plant foods, choosing foods that are brightly colored, deeply colored, because they, again, have the most antioxidants. So you can tell just by looking at a food whether or not it's going to be nutritive.
There was a study in March of 2023 about intermittent fasting saying that it increases your risk of cardiovascular disease by 91%. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so intermittent fasting for some can be a great tool, but for those with heart health problems, definitely not advisable because when you're going long periods of time without nutrition, it can affect your hydration status and also your blood pressure. And if you're having blood pressure issues, you definitely don't want to mess around with that too much.
Can you talk about hydration for women in heart disease? That's never been discussed.
Typical recommendation for most people is, 6 to 8 ounce glasses of water per day. It's also beneficial to eat hydrating foods, so fruits and vegetables. We want to make sure we are eating enough fruits and vegetables where we get things like potassium, moderate amounts of sodium. We do need sodium. It is a naturally occurring compound, just not in excessive amounts.
I love flavoring my water with electrolytes. What are your thoughts on using electrolytes?
Electrolytes can be great, especially if you're someone who's active and you're doing more sweating. I, again, just caution against ones that have too much added sugar.
Could it be bad to take some of these electrolytes?
Typically, no, because you're not going to be getting them in mega doses. So I would avoid, having anything that has, super high dosage of anything. But many of them, because they're water soluble, will flush through your system. Potassium is another electrolyte that helps to balance sodium levels in the body. So it can help with fluids and blood pressure. And magnesium is a mineral that helps with relaxing muscles. So it can maybe be beneficial.
What is your advice for someone who is recently on a blood thinner? Are there any dietary recommendations that you can assist them with?
So specific blood thinners like warfarin, does interact with vitamin K. And so we want to make sure the blood is thinning and not clotting. And so it's important to have consistent intake of vitamin K foods. These are going to be things like dark leafy greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. It doesn't mean that you have to completely avoid these foods, just have consistent intake so that the levels of the blood thinner don't change in the body.
When you hear the word heartquake or trauma of the heart, what does that mean to you?
So heartquake makes me think of something that is broken, but things that are broken can always be put back together.
Thanks for watching Heartquake Media. Make sure you check out our website and social media for more information on heart healthy living. And remember, wellness starts with the heart.